CQ researcher of May 8th, 2020, from Moraine Valley's library, has a story about a boy named Evan Hansen. Evan started to play tackle football at the age of 8 years old. He then went on to play high school football as a starting running back and linebacker. At his senior year at Wabash College, he was named team captain. According to his father, Chuck Hansen, he was a very loving, caring, humble kid. However, in 2017, Evan began to experience some mood changes. Doctors prescribed him antidepressants, but they didn't seem to work. The next year, at the age of 21, Evan killed himself. After donating his brain, researchers at Boston University concluded, and they told Evan's parents, that Evan had chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE for short, which is a degenerative brain disease that happens after continuous head-on collisions and concussions. Evan is just one of a long list of players who suffered from this disease. Players like Junior Seau, Aaron Hernandez, Mike Webster, and even Andre Waters, just to name a few. I strongly believe that youth tackle football is extremely dangerous and one of the strong causes for CTE for children at a very young age. I have experience with this. My family suffered 2 losses because of it. I know what it is. I know what causes it, what it leads to, and most importantly, I know what can be done to prevent it. This is a very critical topic. So many players are dying from this disease every single year. And just like any other life-threatening disease, we need to find its cure. And if that means no more tackle football, so be it. First, I will explain what the possible dangers of letting your child play youth tackle football. And then I will propose a solution to prevent those harms for the near future. Now let's begin with what youth tackle football can lead to. As I've stated before, it is extremely dangerous and it can lead to severe lifelong injuries to the players at a young age, just like CTE. CQ researcher of May 8, 2020 from Moraine Valley says, according to Robert Stern, who is the director of clinical research at Boston University, he says that some physicians and researchers concerned particularly about CTE say that tackle football for youth children should be banned. He says that the brain is going through an incredible time of growth between the ages of 10 and 12, and to subject that brain to continuous head-on collisions and concussions may cause problems later in life. Definitely will cause problems later in life. Stern also co-authored a study that surveyed 214 former football players and found that those who participated in youth football before the age of 12 had twice the risk of behavioral problems and 3-fold the risk of depression compared to those who started playing later on in life at an older age. According to Vox.com of April 3rd, 2019, exposure data shows that children as young as the age of 9 are getting hit in the head 500 times in one season. An article from NBC News of October 10, 2019 talks about a video that was part of a campaign by the Concussion Legacy Foundation. Now, in this video, we see that there is a child's voiceover going over the video and how he compares tackle football to smoking. And in the video, we see a motherly type character light a cigarette and pass it on to her young child, who appears to be at the age of like 8 or 9. In the video, they say the younger I start, the longer I'm exposed to danger. Meaning that the younger I start playing tackle football, the longer I'm exposed to potential damages up here and here. The Concussion Legacy Foundation strives to steer children away from tackle football and towards other types and safer forms of the game, like flag football and touch football. The organization says that children who start playing tackle football at the age of 5 have 10 times the risk of developing CTE compared to those who play later on in life, for example, like at the age of 14 or 15. As we can see, tackle football isn't safe, especially for the youth. It can cause severe lifelong damages, and we need to prevent it, especially for the youth. Now that we know it's bad, here's my solution. I propose that all 50 states completely ban youth tackle football and promote and encourage other safer forms of the game like flag and touch. USA Today of October 31st, 2019 talks about how that year the New York legislation tried to pass a bill that bans tackle football, however didn't pass because of inconclusive evidence, not enough evidence, and because tackle football is an extremely popular sport and a lot of the New York legislators didn't want to pass it. Boston.com of March 3rd, 2019 talks about 5 different states who tried to ban youth tackle football and all have failed. These states include Boston, Illinois, Maryland, New York, and New Jersey. An article on EBSCOhost on November 23rd, 2019 from Moraine Valley's library talks about how the state of Texas, a strong football state, is trying to change the game of football for the better. They talk about how high school football is a core part of the state's identity, and people feel insulted if their child doesn't play tackle or stars on the high school football team. In Texas, and the article talks about how they are committed to increase awareness and commitment to keep football away from to keep the head out of the game, to try to, decrease the number of concussions and head-on collisions. On an article on USA Today of October 31st, 2019, actually has an opposition to mine. Robert Zayas, who is the executive director of his state's high school athletic association, he talks about how youth football advocates say that the science is inconclusive, and he argued that a ban is unfair. It's unfair because he believes that new protocols and rules have been made to make the sport safer. And he also pointed out that how no legislation is seeking to regulate other sports that carry the risk of concussion, like gymnastics and soccer, just to name a few, hockey even. However, I disagree with Robert. There's nothing that makes youth tackle football safe, especially for the youth. There's nothing that can change my mind about how you cannot prevent head-on collisions in the game of football. They are inevitable, which is why a ban is the safest precaution. It is the safest solution for our youth, and it is the safest solution for our future, and for their futures as well. This is a critical issue, which is why we must continue to try to create awareness of the potential danger of our youth playing tackle football, so that we could try down the road to completely ban it all over the country. As we approach the end of my speech, here's what I want to leave you with. The youth of this country love to play football. I love to play football. I honestly don't know who doesn't love to play football. And growing up, personally, I always thought that playing tackle football made me feel, and most importantly, look tougher to the other children, because I played tackle football and I tackled people and I hit people and I'm strong and I'm tough. But it is extremely dangerous. It can create potential lifelong injuries like CTE, depression, and can lead to death from either suicide or heart failure or brain failure. which is why I propose that we ban youth tackle football and tackle football for all ages, from ages 3 to 4 to ages ages in high school even, because it's not safe. It really isn't. And which is why I push that we promote, encourage safer options of the game like touch and flag football. There's nothing we can do to bring guys like Evan and Junior and Mike back, and all the other athletes who suffered from this trauma. However, we can honor them by creating awareness and preventing anyone else, regardless of age, from having to suffer and go through what they did. Thank you.